Let's go. Yalla, let's
Alrighty,
go.
guys, welcome back. We've got League of Inches, and unfortunately, we weren't here last week. Had a few things popping up, but look, we're back now, and massive episode. A lot of things to talk about, which is brilliant. And obviously, Sid is on a 3-week bender, on a 4-week bender. It is now, so going off. We've got the doggies boys still around, and Dane is apparently in Sydney at the moment, and he's partying after their come from behind win on the weekend, which was brilliant. So, welcome, boys. First of all, just start off with the weekly weapon. I just thought overall the rugby league community with how they handled their biggest passing, which obviously we didn't get to talk about last week, but I just thought overall there was fantastic stories coming through. The minute silence for mine were all pretty good. There was one or two idiots, which there always is, that yell out, but for most of it, it was done really well. I thought the Tigers, apart from what they did on the field, was brilliant. The no number 7 was worn, things like that. So a great round overall, where one of the true rugby league legends unfortunately passed away, which is very sad for the league community. Said, what do you make of the Rodonigus passing and the round that's just been?
Oh yeah, man. It's quite sad. It's one of those things you just think every time Origin comes around, you're gonna see him. You get a little piece on TV, whether it's Channel 9 or through Fox Sports. The famous tailbog, the famous face slapping. He's just he was a character. He'd be sorely missed, and the league did well with what they did, and condolences to the family.
Jason?
Yeah, no, agreed. I think they're great gesture shown, giving that moment silence, and especially West retiring the number 7 jersey in all grades for the day. I think that was really cool, and rest in peace, Tommy.
Yeah, 100%. And just on that, we don't want to talk too much about, obviously, the Tigers' performance, but Josh, it was a bit of a slap in the face for the great man, the performance the Tigers put on Sunday.
That first half was horrendous, man. That first half, they deserve to get booed off, to be honest. You know what I mean? After all, such a great passing away in that, you think they'll be pumped for the game. They should have been up for that 100%, man. But they were so flat, they were lethargic. But the second half, they came back. The bunker killed the game for us. Well, I think everyone. But yeah, to be honest, they were so flat, man. It was horrendous, that first half.
It's an interesting one because us as fans of the game, we were pumped to see Leichhardt Oval Sunday afternoon after everything that's happened. I know I was keen to get home and make sure I was watching that game. That was the first game I looked at on the calendar for on the weekend games. So something deeper, which we will dig into over the next coming weeks about the Tigers. We touched the surface the other week, but I think it needs to be dug a bit deeper now. It's just the issues continuing, but let's get into it because we've got a massive show, guys. Huge talking points to come out. First of all, I've got, I believe it was Jason that brought this up last week, so I'm going to throw to him just about the 6 again rule and how to alter it to advantage teams and not disadvantage them. I'm going to just go into this a bit more detail, Jason.
Yeah, so something actually Josh and I spoke about the other day. Like you get a lot of teams, especially the good teams. You'll see Storm do it a fair bit, where they'll kick the ball deep into a corner, and they'll tackle that the player in the 10, within their 10-meter line, and then you'll see them race off the line early, or they'll actually in that original tackle, that first tackle, they'll hold the player down and give away that 6 again, just so they get their line set, and then that first tackle, they'll come off, shoot off hard to trap them, keep them in the 10 there, and then from there, they just keep hammering them and keep them locked in there. And that 6 again rule, let's be honest, like you get that 6 again within your 10 meters, it really does nothing because they're set for that next tackle. You pretty much burnt the tackle, it's nothing. So Josh and I were talking about it, and a few options we came up with was when the attacking team is coming out, like within their goal line to their 30, if they give away a 6 again penalty, it should just be a straight out penalty because it really benefits nothing. They'll still stay trapped down there. Whereas you give them a penalty, they can kick themselves out of trouble and then get on the roll there. I think it's a real waste. And then once you get over that 30 mark, then you start giving away the 6 again. Like the refs can start giving away the 6 again. Just the really good teams just exploit that. Off the kick, they'll hold that first tackle down as long as they can, burn it, get the 6 again, they'll shoot off the line straight away. And it's just killing momentum to the game, really. Like the whole aim of it was to speed up the game, but it's not. Just keeping teams trapped down in their half.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I remember Sid said it a while back, but he goes, the 6 again on that first one, and I've noticed it's crept back in. There's a lot of mistakes coming in on that free play, so to speak. So teams aren't actually getting the advantage of the penalty. Now, I'm all for speeding up the game, but I'm also for penalising indiscretions that happen, giving that team the proper advantage, which I don't think has been happening as much as it should have been. Sid, I know you are big on this topic and you've been following this rule since it's come out and had some positives and negatives to say about it. You agreeing with what Jason's saying, or you want to add anything to it?
Well, it's a clever idea. To be honest, I know that I did notice the teams giving it away willingly on the first, because all it pretty much done was turn it to a 0 tackle. But I did notice to the depth that the guys have picked up on, and very valid point, and I agree something needs to be done definitely. And their idea is, just to turn it into a penalty. Why not bring it in 10 if they're stuck in the corner, like a scrum or a handover, and then blow the penalty anywhere in that 10 metre or 20 metre or whatever you like. But here we go again, talking about changing rules. It's a can of worms, rugby league. Unfortunately, every time they bring in a rule, they got to bring in 3 other rules for it.
It's an interesting one because obviously you obviously were watching the game on the weekend and Dragons and Eels, and you guys are very good at giving the 6 to go inside the 10, which a lot of the teams do these days, and it halters up the play and the momentum that's happening. And Marin and Alvaro were doing it very well when they came on and controlled the ruck, so credit to them. But I'd like to see the referee go. I know you've got one player sent to the Sydney Mills after about 4 warnings. I think it needs to be, say, maybe after the second warning, someone starts going, and if it goes down to 11 or 10 men, then so be it. I think the NRL needs to crack down on this bit, because I don't like the fact that teams can have the advantage and then obviously lose it with players just literally falling asleep on the rocket, and they're doing it so obviously. For mine, it's a professional foul. So I've always been told professional fouls are 10 in the bins, where obviously this is a bit different, but I think the NRL needs to start cracking down on it, because there's definitely some people exploiting the rules. Josh, I don't want to get you in on this one, but I want to get you in on the second one. For mine, I've been watching the game.
Can I just add something to that, Joel? I saw that as well in that Eels game. I actually went to the game and watched it. And there was a play where Para had the ball inside the Saints 10, attacking the goal line. Corey Norman was at marker, and he was late to get to his feet. And the dummy half realised that it jumped out to the blind. And Norman, obviously realising it could be a try, he made the tackle anyway. And instead, that's a professional foul. Instead of him being sent to the bin, they just got a 6 again, which was not benefiting them at all, really.
Yeah, no.
The Saints fans are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Dragons get all these calls, man.
We're not going to get into that yet. We're not going to do it. Sid's bubbling away. He's very, very excited this week, and understandable. I've already given him credit for the performance. But second tackle, and it's something that I've wanted to bring up the last few weeks, and I've just noticed for mine, we've always thought halfbacks or hookers your key positions, and I guess that's thanks to your key players like your Cam Smith, your Andrew Johns, your Jonathan Thurstons, things like that. So what I'm seeing, though, happening these days is that the most important position on the field for mine is a fullback. I think if you don't have a top 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 fullback each week, you're going to be behind the pack. I want to go around to each of you boys. So I'll go to Josh first. What's your most important position on the field and why?
It's fullback 100% because they're a floater. You know what I mean? They could play in attack. They can be wherever they want to be. And that's the position you want. And that's why the fullback is the most important position in attack. They can float inside the ruck. They can float out wide. They can be where they want. And that's why Tedesco is so good. He's a good supporting player. He's good around the rucks. And that's what it is. That's what, in my opinion, fullback is the most important position. At the now, not 5'8" isn't even as important anymore. Halfback and fullback used to be the most important positions in the game of rugby league. Not anymore. I think the lock plays more than the 5'8" does, to be honest. Yeah. And that's just my opinion.
Sid?
Look, I like the fullback. What Josh was talking about was definitely valid in the attack, and I'll add to that the defense. Defense counting the numbers. I know it sounds like it's basic counting. They're never really counting more than 5 or 6. But if you have like a big forward that, I'll use the example of Vaughan. I actually had this discussion with a mate today. When Vaughan runs it straight, he gets tackled, he engages 2-3 defenders. When he's running slightly diagonal and he's engaging at the very least, even if there's not contact, getting them on red alert, 3 or 4, 5, 6 players. And then he goes almost to the edges, gets tackled by them, and he's just so big, you need minimum 3 players on him. And he does this turn thing where he will turn around, so the guy that's tackled him, the main guy, ends up nowhere near the marker. He plays the ball, and then we go down the blind again, and then you're attacking the edge. Now, what happens there is the fullback needs to, Gutherson is probably one of the best in the world at this, is he has to identify that all of a sudden there's only 2 players out there because Vaughan has sucked everyone in. You see, so counting the numbers is huge as well. So adding to the attacking side of things, definitely defensively. I like hooker, but I've got a soft spot because I played hooker for 6 years out of my 16 years. And I think they touch the ball. Well, they do touch the ball more than anyone, but the fullback is very, very significant.
So we've got 3 votes for fullback and a soft spot for a hooker, which fair to say most males out there has. Jace, what's your?
Yeah, I do agree with the fullback, but I think for me, in today's game, I think you definitely need that forward that's getting you on the front foot, just like. Yeah, okay, Josh.
You're starting the tour. You guys are starting the tour. I'm gonna have to call a dummy half now.
Joel started this, not me.
Oh, sorry, boys. Let's get back into it.
You're gonna fall through the atmosphere, Josh.
Yeah, right now, Josh.
Go.
Do you want us to go to commercial?
Yes.
Let's cut to a break.
I do agree with the fullback, but in today's game, I think you have to have that forward that's getting you forward, because the fullback, halfback, all those other players are really left stranded, like dead in the water. If you're not getting that forward, they got nothing to do off the back of it. And but I agree with Josh on the lock position. If you have a pretty good lock, he tends to ball play a lot more than your 5'8". He's almost like a second or third playmaker, sorry. And if you have one that actually can punch the ball forward as well, really well, like Taumalolo, I think that's the best position, I think, from the field, other than your normal halfback, hooker roles. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The third tackle is something that I've noticed that lately has been happening a bit with the game, and it's bunker once again, and it seems to happen each year. We talk about it, and it starts off so well, and then after a few weeks, it gets creeping back in. It's like it's missing itself. It wants to be known. It wants to be in the limelight for whatever reason. And once again, we're back here where, and obviously that one of the big things after the weekend was the way they're ruling obstructions at the moment, which in my eyes, I've heard a few things the last couple of days, and I think it's over dramatized it to the point where they're obstructing players that aren't even going to be part of the play. So I don't know why there's no tries, but the simple question to this is the bunker getting too involved with the game at the moment? And Sid, I'll start with you for this one.
Yeah, look, the short answer is yes. It's getting too involved, and getting too technical. And probably the best way for me to describe it, and I think this triggers a lot of frustration, is getting to what if scenarios, or if he got through, or if he this. It should be, if it's realistic, all right. The guy's repeated. If he's going to make tackle, I mean, even against you guys when Clint Gutherson was in the inside and scored that try, I thought it was a try because I didn't think Formiano was going to get him, but then they gave a no try. It's stuff like that, and the reason I say it, I've been trying to be fair to income, and it's happened to us before, and we benefited on this occasion. I think it's unnatural. It's becoming unnatural. Just freeze framing it bit by bit, slightest bump, and then they want it. It's too technical, man.
That was one of the examples I had, and the other one was, to not be biased, was the Tigers game where they were on the front foot, and for mine they were about 5 meters out. I don't think the Cowboys player was ever going to stop that try happening. So I'm not sure why it was given no try. I guess letter of the law.
And none, you know what? None of the short side defenders they had their feet on the line. They were all offside. Anyway.
All offside, man. I noticed that as well. Yeah, man.
Not one
None
player
of them
had
onside.
You got to have one foot on the line, bro.
I tell you another thing I noticed. Not one of them complained. Hence, knowing that all of them thought it was a try. Hence, all of them thought it was a try.
Yeah. What about you, Josh?
Yeah.
You're on a roll at the moment. What do you think of it? Is the bunker too involved at the moment?
Yeah, 100%, man. He kills the buzz of the game. Like, imagine scoring a try, thinking you've scored a try, you're cheering, and then literally 5 minutes later they call it back as a no try. That kills the whole buzz of the game. And I'm sorry, that's too much, man. That's not the rugby league I grew up as. That's not the rugby league I think all of you know. It's just horrendous, man. I hate it. Yeah. I hate it like that. I'd rather go back to, okay, let's check it on field straight away, rather than let it play out and then let's check it afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's terrible like that.
When this rule first came out, I was excited because I was like, yeah, we're going to award the trial however the ref sees it, which is the way New South Wales Cup does it. And I love watching New South Wales Cup because the referee, whatever they say, goes. And look, they might get some wrong, they might get some right, however it goes. But I thought this rule was for the howlers. So I'm talking a foot's out and you can clearly see it and it's no try. I'm talking about if it's a clear knock on, then yep, no worries, we'll go back. But what I'm seeing now is the bunker's getting too involved and really being pedantic with what is going to be a try or no try, which is going back to what's happened last year. And we were told at the start of this year they didn't want to do that anymore. So, Jason, are we going off about nothing, or are you in the same boat as us?
No, I agree as well. I'd rather it rule straight away if the ref, as soon as they score the try, instead of blowing the try, rule it straight away. Like it was all about speeding up the game. That's slowing down the game even more. You're getting more time off there. But and to be honest with you, I've lost all faith in the bunker. Like when it goes up there, it's sort of like a Wheel of Fortune moment where it seems like they just spin the wheel up there, and if it comes up, whatever it comes up on the wheel, that's what they're gonna rule. It's like they just make the rules up as they go. Like on the weekend, like that Dufty try, the penalty try, there's no way 100% you could have said Dufty got to the ball first because Sevo was right there as well. Like he was flying in. Yeah, Dufty got tripped. He's a good player, but I don't think he would have got there first. It would have been a 50-50 between him and Sevo for the ball. So it's, you just
I thought it'd be 10 in the bin.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
You know?
10 in the bin, I thought. He even admitted after the game the post got in his way. He didn't even see it until right at the last minute. He just ran into it. So there was people other than Sevo there, and it was the big corner post. Look, the fourth tackle is one that was going to be just about Cronulla's treatment of John Morris, which is now, it's going to be about that. But obviously the last hour or two, breaking news about Craig Fitzgibbon's now signed, 3-year deal for the start of next year. Morris has now walked and said, I don't want anything to do with it from now on. And deal with it yourselves. Josh Hannay is going to be the interim coach. Now, strictly back to the original question, which is, has the treatment of John Morris at the Sharks fair or unfair? Jason?
I think it's unfair. I think he's done pretty well this season for what he's had. They took Canberra right down to the wire. They won a few games that
they win that game.
Yeah.
The goal kicks were what let them down, and but there was a few games there that they won that a lot of us thought that they shouldn't have won, but they did, and they've still got Sean Johnson to come back. I think he's been treated rather unfairly. So the signing of Fitzgibbon could have waited till the end of the year just to give him a chance to prove himself, really see if he's worth having around or not. But they've taken that from him.
Yeah, it was an interesting one because if we're talking about this year's results, and obviously this has been in the works for a while, Morris had pressure on him from the start in off season and last year, but the results this year, they lost to Parramatta because they had basically no one on the bench. They lost to the Raiders thanks to missing a few goal kicks, where if they got them, they win the game. And then on the weekend, I reckon if they don't lose Wade Graham or Dugan, one of those stay on, not go off, they win that game as well. Roosters exploited a few players out of position for that back half, which good on them. But the results have been there for Morris. Like, people are talking about they haven't beaten top 8 sides and that, but they're about to beat 2, if not 3 of them in the last month and a half of footy. So I think it's been a pretty harsh treatment. Josh, where do you stand on it?
No, it's the biggest dog act by Cronulla, man. Okay, for example, look at Todd Payton. He's comfortable at his job. And what have Cowboys done? John Morris has done more for the Sharks than Todd Payton has, but yet John Morris is going. As if if you get treated like that, of course you're going to leave. As if he was going to stay out this year. I wouldn't. I would have left straight off the bat as soon as they signed Fitzgibbon. It's the biggest dog act by that club, man. Yeah. They've always been like that, but always.
Yeah, it's a very question one for the Sharks, and it's interesting to see some of their fans come out the last couple of days about it. And the players apparently wanted to play for John Morris. They kept talking openly about wanting to play with him. And we've seen Johnson's interview with the Matty John show on Sunday, and the players seem to love him. Sid, I know there's a massive rivalry between the two teams, the Dragons and the Sharks, and you love to hit them while they're down. But surely even you can see that at least he deserved another year or two now that they've got a full salary cap next year as well.
Yeah, man, I've actually been waiting patiently for my turn because I've been watching this play out, this saga play out closely. Actually, I saw the Sean Johnson thing. I saw NRL 360. All the panelists have their turn about having a crack at Cronulla and the way they've done this. Very similar to what happened to Dean Pay at the Dogs. He had nothing to work with squad wise and salary cap, and then as soon as they have a bit of relief and a bit of room to move, they bin him. There are a number of factors to consider. Yes, you're 100% right. Sean Johnson gave a glowing reference for John Morris. He said the players love him, and it was quite a genuine speech about him. He did also say that John Morris has had nothing to do with recruitment and retention for a number of years. Using an example that Toby Rudolph John Morris was asking Toby Rudolph, "Do you want to resign?" Toby Rudolph straight out said to him, he just said to him, "Mate, I don't even know if you're going to be the coach. Like, how are you? And this guy's trying to build a team, and he doesn't even know if it's going to be there." And the last point that everyone needs to know is, and why everyone's filthy on Cronulla now, is because they actually told John Morris a couple of weeks ago, "You'll have a review in 8 weeks to prove yourself, and you're in quite pole position." And that was by one of the journalists. What's the old bloke name?
Buzz
on the Daily Telegraph. He's a massive Sharks fan. What's his name?
Buzz Rossfield.
Rossfield. Yeah. He wrote the article and he said they gave him 8 weeks, and then the other bloke, James Hooper, said, "I've got good mail that they've signed what's his name, Fitzgibbon and Cameron Ciraldo." and they're just finalising the deal. Now, lo and behold, 2 hours ago, like you said, they've signed him. Look, like Josh said, it's the biggest dog act ever.
Yeah, and look, we do need to move on from this point, but just the final thing I want to say about it is I know a lot of people out there and in the league community have massive raps on Fitzgibbon. He's done a good apprenticeship under the Roosters and ready to go, and I'm not disputing that. But one thing I think we need to look at in coaching world is that you need the right man for the right job, and they've got to fit into the club. They've got to be a clubman. Like I say, Parramatta with Brad Arthur, he's Parramatta through and through. He loves the place and he knows what it's about. You've got Bellamy at the Storm. Bennett, for mine, his best years have been when he's at the Broncos because that's where he wants to be and that's his passion. So I'm all for Fitzgibbon being a good coach, but if he can't pick up the Sharks mentality of they're the club that they like to bash and barge and they want to bash people out of the game and they don't want to score 40, 50 points. They want to score 8 points and beat us. So that's the Sharks mentality. That's what they need to be and need to go back to. And I thought, for mine, Morris fitted the culture a bit better. But look, the fifth tackle, and it's been obviously a bit over a month of footy now, and we've all had our predictions at the start of the year and things like that. Who's your standout team so far? It could be for a good reason or a bad reason, and your standout player so far. Jason.
Let me just have a think about this. Throw back to me.
Yeah, all right, no worries. I'll go to Josh first after his swig.
I hate to say this, man. I hate it. I hate it so much, but I have to, man. If I'm an honest rugby league supporter, I have to say it. It's the Dragons, man. I tip them getting the wooden spoon. But to see the footy they're playing with a lot of heart, man. A lot of heart. As a hater, I hate them. Even signing Josh Maguire, I hate him even more. Biggest grub in the game. But yeah, at the end of the day, like you got to give it to the Dragons, man. They after round one, the performance they put up, you're like, yeah, guaranteed to come fucking somewhere near the bottom. The last 4 weeks, man, it's been champagne footy, to be honest. Like the way they played Parramatta, I think no team has played Parramatta like that. They actually bullied Parramatta out the game, and that's what Parramatta weren't expecting. So I've got to give it to the Dragons here, man. So Dragons are my tip.
And what about your standout player? There was 2 parts to the question. Have another
Dusty, man. Yeah. It's got to be Dusty, man. At fullback, that guy, he's a game changer. He's the X factor here, man. He really is. And every time he's playing, you know what I mean? He's scoring tries. He's doing something. So he's the X factor for the Dragons. And yeah, I hate to admit this, man. I feel like crying, to be honest, but I can't.
Well, on that note, let's go to Mr. Red V himself. He has about a minute here to give his team a wrap because no doubt he's going to give the award to them. Off you go.
No. Look, you know, I'm a lover of quality rugby league, and I'll have to go with Souths. I think they've been awesome. They look a polished item. It was really close with them and Penrith, the Panthers. But yeah, I like Souths, and definitely my standout player is Latrell Mitchell. He said he went there saying he wanted to play fullback. He was never going to play fullback with Tedesco at the Roosters. He's turned himself into a fullback. I think he's a better ball player than Tedesco. I'm just going to say it. He's got the instinct as well. He knows when to let it go and when to go himself. Their quality. It's I think 3-4 years now under Bennett. They know their system. They've been very impressive, very, very dangerous team. They're right up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. And Jason?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Josh. I was one of the ones as well at the start of the season when we had our preseason video. I tipped them to be the wooden spooners. So they've definitely impressed me by not being at the bottom of the table and pulling off some of the wins that they have pulled off. So I'll have to go with them. And for my most impressive player, I'm going to have to go with Sam Walker. Like him, he had some big boots to fill coming into that Roosters side, being a halfback and being as young as he is. And I thought he would just do those little 1%ers, just feed the ball, do all that kind of stuff just to get through the game. But he's actually started to step up, and that showed in that that game on the weekend. Like he took the game by the scruff of the neck, and he decided to put his stamp on the game, and he's really impressed me with that.
Yeah.
Is someone smoking hubbly bubbly at your place?
Yeah. I'm sitting here telling him
It's a bomb.
I'm sitting here telling him it sounds like a bong, so he just goes harder. He just starts puffing more. I said to him, it sounds like a bong, so he's up on it. He's gone harder.
I'm like, what's that noise, man? What the hell's going on there?
Oh, we've lost it tonight. This is what happens when we have a week off.
It's a very professional video. Thanks, Ram. So he puts it to his mouth and he goes again.
I'm going to lock in. I'm going to lock it in for my play. I'm agreeing with City. I think Latrell Mitchell had a lot of pressure coming up to this year, and not many people gave him the credit. I predicted him for the Dally M, so I'm pleased with how he's playing because he's on his way to getting that. And I think a lot of people talk about Walker and all the talk's been on Reynolds at the moment, but for mine, Latrell Mitchell's been a class above. He's timing it as well. He's very mature with how he's playing the game at the moment. And for mine, it's all Latrell. If he's playing well, South Sydney will go close to winning the comp. For my team, and I'm going to go a little bit different here, my team that stood out the most has been the Panthers. Purely off the base of I thought they'd fall down a little bit. I thought they wouldn't be able to deal with the hype, but they're first some very good teams to start with. They've played the Storm, they've played the Raiders, they've had to play some teams that are always going to be up against them, and they've really shone and been able to stay in the fight and keep this undefeated regular season run going, which is huge at the moment. And just the type of footy they're playing, it's something else, and it's exciting to watch. But it leads me into the sixth tackle here, and it's about the Panthers, and it's about how they're carrying on at the moment. And I thought we saw on the weekend a bit of they've been very confident side, but I think it's fair to say on the weekend we saw a bit of cockiness, and we saw them a bit of baiting. And I want to go to refer to an incident with Tarpany was on the bench and about to come on, so he technically wasn't even on the field yet. So that in itself is a massive wake-up call for the NRL. They haven't really done much to Crichton in this situation, but Crichton's come up to him and baited him and started a bit of a fight right next to the crowd as well. But he wasn't even on the field, Tarpany. He was literally standing there just waiting to get on. He was just minding his business going, oh, crap, they just scored a try. And in his face is just all the Panthers now. They're a very good side. They're going to be right there where it counts. But are they starting to overstep the mark here? Sid, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I saw that, and we did talk about that on the group. Very disappointing because I thought Crichton is super young talent. On the field, he clearly has everything, and also the right attitude. He's so fit, he's so fast, and to do that, I just thought typical millennial. The only reason he's doing that is because of the no punching rule. Tarpany's head's twice the size of Crichton's head. It's a mismatch. If they, in the old days when you would cop a smack for being a smart ass, and I'm going to say, that's what it was, being cheeky like that. There was another one, if I might add. I won't go into it. We all saw it. Chad Townsend right in the face of Jared Hargraves. Like seriously, the guy was eating for breakfast, but he was running his mouth. Mind you, I think they scored 3 tries through Townsend at the end. So who got the last laugh? But still, just I just hate it. It's so ugly. I can't. You don't get smart with a bloke unless you can, unless you're going to back it up. But they're protected by this no punching rule. It's pathetic.
Yeah, Josh, what's your views on this matter?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. The scary thing about it, you can tell they're a young side. And that's the scariest thing about it, the way they carry on. They're cocky, yes, but they're just a young side. Imagine Panthers in 5 years' time, what kind of team they'll be. This kind of stuff's expected from a team like this because they're young. They're young. They're just enjoying their footy, and that's what they're doing. It is a bit. it is a bit stupid. But at the same time, they're just a young team, man. They've got a lot of lessons to, and that's the scary thing about that's the scary thing to all the other teams in this league, man. They're just young, man.
Yeah, look, it is that, and they are playing an exciting brand of footy. And Jace, what do you think?
Yeah, I know exactly why Josh is just sort of defending them a bit, because that's how Josh would have carried on if that was him in the game. He would have got up 100%. Sid knows too, because that's exactly how he would have been. That's how he's always been. That's why he's.
But it's just no. But the thing is, like, if you get under the opponent's skin, it makes them worse. You know what I mean? And that's like I see it from a different point of angle, and that's how I saw it.
Yeah. But because
he wasn't the one getting angry. Tarpany was the one getting angry. He was happy they scored a try.
Crichton being a dick. Let's be honest. Pulling Tarpany into the middle of their celebration wasn't needed. Tarpany pushed him away to begin with.
But did you or did you
Crichton,
not?
Crichton just kept going with it. Something you would do. Just kept going with it.
But did you or did you not laugh?
No, I didn't laugh because I've been on the receiving end of that with you little shit. I know exactly how it feels. That's why I didn't laugh, because I know how it feels. But if you look at it, yeah, they're a young team. I agree with Josh in this. They're a young team. They've been on this long run of wins, and but that ego is part of that young player build. It's just something that they have. You see the old players like Fisher Harris, those guys like that, those kind of guys, they weren't the ones that are carrying on. They're not the ones that they've been on this long run. They haven't had the ego. They're just young players, and it's sort of going to their head a bit. But it'll take something. It'll take a loss for them to get their heads on and pull their heads in and start getting back down to footy instead of worrying about being cocky.
Yeah. We'll move on and do the tips, but just on that, the Panthers, they haven't won anything yet. They haven't won the grand final. I think it showed in the grand final last year that Melbourne were the more in there and had their heads screwed on, and they weren't carrying on, and they got the job done in the end. And Panthers need to learn to do that, and I think it could be their downfall, the way they're carrying on a bit now. And I think the league loves watching them. They've got everyone in rugby league loving to switch on and watching them, but they're in the middle of a time where they could quickly become the new Storm, where people actually love to hate them, and they start going, "Oh, I want this team to smash them, and I want this and that." So they've got to be careful. If I was Cleary, I would have sat him down this week and gone, "All right, let's get back into playing footy, boys. It's time to knuckle down and do it properly. This sort of stuff is not what we're about. We're about the being the entertainers of the comp, scoring a lot of points and going that way." So that gets us into the tips this week. And the Panthers have the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. Josh, who are you going for?
I'll take Panthers here to smoke them, eh? We'll go 13 plus Panthers.
13 plus, Sid.
30 plus.
30 plus,
Panthers.
Jace.
I'm going to say Panthers by 22.
I'm going to go Panthers by 39. There's this weird...
Oh, jeez. It's going to be 39.
Knights v Sharks up at McDonald Jones, and after everything that's happened the last day, and I find this is the hardest game of the round to tip. Josh?
I'm going to take Knights here, man. I know they haven't been strong at home this year, but I'm going to take Knights because Ponga's second game back. The first game was hard for him. You can't come back after the first game. So I'm going to take Knights here. Plus, with all the stuff that Sharks are going through, man, they're not going to be up for this whatsoever. Take the Knights here.
Sid?
I think the opposite. I think the Sharks are going to make a statement here. In a show of support for John Morris. He's going to be emotional. They're going to reflect that and couple that with the fact that the Knights still got a lot of players out. The Knights are nowhere near where they need to be. The Sharks. I reckon Sharks by 10. I reckon Sharks going to beat them up this week.
Can I ask you a quick question? You say to support John Morris. He's gone. So even if they win the weekend, it's going to do nothing for him.
He's gone, mate. He's gone immediately, mate. He's left.
All right.
He's gone, mate.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. They're going to go well. I think they're going They're gonna say that one's for you, buddy. You know what I mean? Like the Tigers should have done for Tommy. That's what they're gonna do for John Morris.
Yeah, nice
Alright.
prediction. Sid's at his best there. Jace.
I'm going to go with Knights with this whole John Morris debacle. I think Sharks playing away from home as well. I think it's going to be a bit too much.
Yeah, I agree. I think Knights will be. They've got Kurt Mann back as well, and Bradman Best is back as well. So a few big ins for them. So I think Knights at home will be a bit too strong.
Yeah, I think Knights as well.
Storm v Roosters. This is one of the better modern day rivals. Josh,
This was a hard one for me. Like I took Roosters all the way up till today. You know what I mean? I was thinking Roosters. I'm going to go to Storm though. Storm's 1-12.
you sound like you've been on the hubbly bubbly. Sid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon Storm are going to rough up the little blokes. Storm aren't shy. If you put under 70 up there, they'll beat them up. They don't care. They're just so ruthless. The Storm were too much for them.
Jace.
Yeah, I was the same. I was tossing and turning with this one. But I think Storm are going to be far too clinical with this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is where the Roosters will, without their key players, this will be the game that shows what they're missing now. Storm will be too good here. It could be a 13-plus scoreline. Manly v Titans. This is out at Whoop Whoop, I believe. I forget where it is, but
Mudgee, I think.
Oh, Mudgee, there we go, Mudgee. Gosh.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
This has
I'm
been
gonna
an
go Titans,
amazing
mate.
video, this one.
This is Titans 1-12.
Yes.
Jason's Wi-Fi is too slow, man. He blocks off everything.
Shut your
Sid.
Yeah, Titans too strong across the park. Too strong.
Yes.
The 20
Jace.
plus.
I think if Fafita goes the way he did on the weekend, it's going to be a blowout. I think Titans by 20.
And I'm going to go Titans as well, comfortably. Mainly a shot at the moment, and even Turbo coming back will help them a little. South Tigers. Josh, your turn.
South's easy for me. South's 13 plus here.
Yeah,
This
Sid.
is probably one of the easiest games to tip, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a danger game, Sid.
Yeah, definitely South. South's far too good. They won't let Tigers will have a game when they respond, but this won't be the game. Souths are far too clinical and professional. 20 plus. Put your house, you get a Matchbox car in return.
Oh, jeez. Oh, Jace.
South for me as well, 20 plus.
Yeah, after last week's debacle for the Tigers, I think things get worse. South support probably 30 on them. Raiders v Eels down at the nation's capital. Josh.
I'm taking Power here, Power 1-12. I think they bounce back from the loss against Dragons. It's going to be a hard game, but I'm taking Power, yeah. Power.
Okay, Sid.
I think Raiders are going to respond. They'll be filthy, and Ricky Stewart, he loves to spray. He's going to put the rocket up him if he hasn't already 5 days of the week. They're going to be primed, and I've got a feeling they're going to pip your boys. Sorry, Joel. Class one.
It's all right, Jace.
I think I'm going to say Raiders. It's going to be a close one. I think Raiders by 8.
Yeah, it's a danger game because both are top 4 potential teams, and they could be going 2 losses in a row here. I'm going the Raiders. I think they'll be just a bit too good down in Canberra. It's very hard for us to win there. Sunday games. The Mighty Red V versus the Warriors. Dragons will start favourites for probably one of the first times in a long time. Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go past the Dragons after last week's performance, man. And the way the Warriors play, so I'm going to go Dragons 1-12.
Yeah. Sid?
Yeah, I was pretty confident we'll put the cleaners through them, and having read today, at least Katoa's out and Fusitua's out, so that's another 2 players out. They're running thin on troops, and we're going to be too much for them. 20 plus, I reckon.
Jace?
I think this is going to be my upset of the round. I'm going Warriors by 4.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm going to go Dragons. I don't think they'll do it as easily. I think this will be a closer game than people think. I think by about 10. It could be a 4-down game for the Dragons. They need to really bounce back and make sure they can win these games. It'll be a big test for them. The Battle of the Wooden Spoon, I think, this next game. And apart from the two supporters here, it's hard to sell this game. It could be a 0-0 scoreline. We're not too sure. Cowboys versus the Dogs up there at where Dairy Farmers. Josh, are you sticking solid or are you tipping with your head?
I'm sticking true, man. I think Dogs get the first win this year. I really believe that, man.
The drums will be beating at Belmore.
Yeah, that's it, man. We get our first win this year, hopefully, man. So I'm tipping the Dogs 1-12 here.
Sid?
Interesting. It's tough. Dogs finally scored 3 tries, and they were all on the back of just throwing the ball around. Cowboys finally scored some points in the first half for the same thing, throwing the ball around. Both teams haven't got great defense. I'd say in a high scorer, I think Cowboys got a little bit, maybe 1 try better team at the moment. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Dogs pip them up there. There'll be value though.
Yeah. All right. Jace?
I think this is the first time all year I can say that betting with my head and heart, I'm going with the Dogs. And I think it's going to be a close one though. So I reckon Dogs by 4.
I think this is a pretty hard one because I was confident with the Cowboys, but now that the hammer's out, I think that goes probably 2 tries away for the Cowboys, which brings it back to pretty even. I think just the loss of Josh Jackson's big for the Dogs this week, out with injuries. So I think they lose a little bit there with defense. So I'll go the Cowboys just in a nail biter. Just before we go, boys, just a quick prediction or a headline you can see after or throughout this week. I'll go first. I'll say Fafita to keep going with a 2-try effort against Manly. Josh?
Oh, man. Doggies smash Cowboys 13+.
Oh, Sid.
Man, you stole my one. I wanted Fafita. I'm going to go one further. I'm going to say that 3 different second rowers are all going to score doubles on the weekend across the 8 games. It's just the edge defense right now is so shaky in the weaker teams.
Yeah, especially when that fatigue hits in. So,
yeah,
Jace?
Yeah.
I'm going to go headline Monday morning. Dogs score points in back-to-back games, first time this season.
On that note, that typifies this video tonight, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. It's been a cracker. It's been something else, which is fair to say. I don't think we'll ever have a week off again because it's just gone loony.
Just remember, guys, Sayed has a soft spot for hookers. Yeah, just remember that. That's the point of this video.
That's the quote. Please put that on our Facebook page. Just quote of the day, please.
As much as I say, that's all you got out of it. I took 90% of the video, talking footy, and that's what you got out of it.
That will be the headline of this video. Cheerio, guys. Enjoy the weekend of footy. And if you're John Morris, give us a call. We'll always have you on the show, brother. We're here for you.